Smite was first released on March 25th of 2014. No one knew at the time, but Smite was about to change a whole industry and thousands of people's lives in the process. Smite is called a multiplayer online battle arena game. They're also called MOBAs for short. Basically what this means is that it's a fighting game in an arena-esque environment, and it's usually played in a team. There are different levels to Smite. For instance, there's the casual scene, which most people fall into, the ranked scene, which is where people are really good, but they're not quite professional. And then there's the pro scene. These people typically train with the same people over and over again, and then end up forming a team and travel to different tournaments. Now I bet you're wondering, how did Smite change the gaming industry? Smite was the first MOBA to be released in third person. This means that instead of being viewed top down, the camera was placed behind and above the player. This makes the game seem much more fast-paced, not only to play, but also to watch. This helped grow a large esports viewing base for Smite. This also helped Smite become one of the biggest and most successful MOBAs on the market. This also encouraged other companies to look into creating esports leagues for their own games. Now, what does Smite mean to me personally? My family has always enjoyed playing video games together. One game that we used to enjoy was StarCraft, which is still a strategy-based game, but instead you create troops and use it to attack other people's bases. This love for video games that both my brother, my father, and myself share helped us pick up this hobby quite easily. Smite is actually currently my favorite video game, and there are over 87 playable gods, and in addition to that, there are 226 different items in the game. That means there's nearly 2,000 different build combinations you could try. Not to mention, action video games can help improve your hand-eye coordination. Now into the actual how to play. It's not necessarily how to play Smite because there are many different game modes in there, so we're going to focus on one in particular called Joust. But for Smite in general, your basic controls are going to be your W, A, S, and Z keys to walk around, and then your 1 through 4 keys in order to use your abilities. Then you use your left click to auto attack and your right click to cancel your abilities. On to the map. It's actually, according to dictionary.com, Joust is a combat in which two knights on horseback attempt to unhorse each other with blunted lances. And that kind of same thought is applied into the Smite or the Joust map because it's a 3v3 team, and each team are trying to push through the lane, through the other enemy's defenses, and trying to get through. Now, the Joust map is made up of one lane, which consists of your Titan, your Phoenix, and your tower. After that, there's a small section of lane that's unused by either of the teams. Followed by that is your enemy's tower, your enemy's Phoenix, and finally, your enemy's Titan. There are different jungle camps in the jungle that will help give you an advantage. One camp is the mana camp. It gives you +5 mana per second and 10% cooldown reductions, and it's located on either side of the maps directly beside the tower. Next is the damage camp, which increases your physical and magical power by 10 and your physical power by 5, and then it increases both of their damages by 20%. And that can be located on the far right side of the map. Lastly, we have the Bull Demon King. Whenever you take the Bull Demon King, it'll give you a buff, but it will also take either your enemy's tower or your enemy's Phoenix, depending on which one you're pushing currently. And it will render it unable to attack you. That means that you can either go in there without your minions and destroy it immediately, or you can do many different power plays against the other ones, or your enemy opponents. And that one is on the far left side of the map. Now, how do you play the objective? Minions will spawn next to your Phoenix, and these minions will help mitigate the damage coming towards you. For instance, if you attack an enemy god, their minions will automatically attack you, but if an enemy god attacks you, your minions will attack them as well. Towers will automatically attack your minions before they attack you. So if you go to push a tower or a Phoenix, you want to let your minions go in first, so that way you can go behind it, and that way you take no damage while dealing direct damage to the tower. Whenever you push the lane and you kill the Titan, that's how you win the game. Now, some tips for beginners or keep your friends close and your enemies closer. The biggest mistake that new players make is ignoring their enemies. They do this mostly because it's confusing enough worrying about what you and your team are doing, so the less you see of your enemy, the better, right? Wrong. If you don't see your enemy, that likely means that they're just out causing trouble somewhere else. Also, take objectives. Any advantage over your enemy you can get, you need it. Lastly, remember to have fun. Nobody likes a complainer sitting by themselves doing nothing.